Now, modern day websites have many functionalities such as authentication, authorization, and so on. And by having these, websites will then provide us with what we need so that we can do almost everything online. Now, they can also follow you, remember your choices, preferences. Seems convenient, but it goes well beyond just this. So the question is, how do they accomplish it? So that means that we can look at the HTTP more closely in order to understand how web applications manage all this. So as you know, HTTP is a connectionless client-server protocol where the server and the client exchange and process data. So basically, the client requests and the server responds. And all these requests of the client are independent of each other by design of HTTP. So when the web browser makes the next request, this is completely unrelated to the previous one. See, so that's why the server needs a mechanism to bind these requests if it does such tasks like adding an item to a user's shopping cart or, well, doing anything that needs to be authenticated and stuff like that. So the most widely used technique to save the user's state and exchange any metadata with a client is through these cookies set by the server. So servers can assign cookies in order to continue their interaction with the client. So then after the initial request, the server issues the client a cookie by setting the Set Cookie field in the HTTP response header. And when the client receives this header, it will store the value of the cookie. And then you see what happens next. It'll automatically send this value with subsequent requests to the same server by just adding this cookie header. So by doing it this way, the server can treat the clients uniquely, as well as being able to follow the user's behaviors. So by assigning cookies, HTTP gains a stateful position and makes every client or user unique. Now, the web server or the owner of the web application can assign many cookies to the client for any purpose. But the most important cookie is the one used for tracking the users, and that's called the session ID in our terminology. So as soon as a user is authenticated with a valid username and password, a unique random session ID is assigned to that user. And this session ID should be included in each and every request that's made by the client. So then the server would tie the request to the authenticated user. Now, cookies normally consist of a name-value pair where the value does not contain any space. Also, the server can assign multiple cookies by adding multiple set cookie headers. And multiple cookies sent back to the server in the same cookie header separated by a semicolon. And we're going to talk more about the security of cookies and their configurations in later sections.